Imagine if, with Naruto's birth, not three but two of the most powerful jutsu awakened in his eyes, the Sharingan, the Byakugan, and the Rinnegan itself. A child whose eyes, upon birth, have the power to rewrite the history of the entire Shinobi world. This time, Naruto is born as the greatest prophecy not just of a Jinchuri, but of the Otsutsuki clan itself. If you enjoy watching such videos, please like and hype the video. So, let's begin. On the night of Kushina Uzumaki's delivery, at Konoha Hospital, as the baby took its first breath, every shinobi in the room held their breath. As the baby's eyes opened, their color began to change repeatedly. First, the Sharingan with red tomoe, then the Byakugan with white protruding veins, and finally the purple rill-patterned eyes, the Rinnegan itself. Minato Namikaze was stunned by this. He asked in a trembling voice, "How is this possible?" Because neither of these two jutsu had ever been in his or Kushina's family. The elder present, Hirozen Sarutobi, recalled old stories from Inoki's time and said that this couldn't be a mere coincidence. That very night, a strange old monk whom no Anbu had seen entering suddenly appeared outside the hospital. He introduced himself as a former disciple of Hagoromo Otsutsuki, who had been waiting for this moment for centuries. He explained that whenever the chakra of the souls of Hagoromo, Hamura, and Kaguya comes into balance within a child, only then do all three dojutsu awaken simultaneously. This child would be the true sage of this age, able to use the Sharingan's illusionary power, the Byakugan's all-seeing eye, and the Rinnegan's 6 and 5 powers simultaneously. Hearing this, Minato and Kushina stood holding each other's hands, unsure whether to rejoice or be afraid. Hiruzen immediately decided that this secret would remain confined to this room, as if the rest of the village found out, every major power would be after the child. That very night, when the masked man attacked and pulled Kurama out of Kushina, the old monk reappeared and channeled all his remaining strength into a protective jutsu, temporarily rendering the child's three-eye powers dormant, preventing them from being detected by the enemy. With his last breath, the monk vowed that the child would not reveal his true eyes until his heart was strong enough to handle them. With that, he vanished forever. 4 years later, Naruto was a normal-looking child, but one day, while playing with other children on the academy grounds, he accidentally fell from a tall tree. His eyes suddenly glowed a faint red. Iruka Sase, who was standing nearby, noticed this and immediately informed Hiruzen. Hiruzen rushed over, his hands trembling at the sight of the faint tomoe in Naruto's eyes. He immediately realized the old monk was telling the truth. That night, Hiruzen called Naruto to his office and lovingly explained that a very special power lay dormant in his eyes, which would gradually awaken. Naruto eagerly asked if this meant he too would become a Sharingan user like Sasuke. Hiruzen smiled and said that his eyes contained more than just the Sharingan. Hearing this, Naruto's eyes lit up with a strange glow. Hiruzen decided it was time to secretly train Naruto to be able to handle his true eyes when they awakened. The next day, Hiruzen called in an old, experienced, retired commander who had once studied the dojutsu of both the Uchiha and Haga clans. He began teaching Naruto basic techniques for chakra control and stabilizing eye energy. Every morning, Naruto was taught to close his eyes for hours and feel his inner chakra network. In the first few weeks, he was simply taught to recognize that the three energies in his eyes emanated from different places in his body. For example, the Sharingan's energy was linked to his emotions, the Byakugan's energy stemmed from his concentration, and the Rinnegan's energy came directly from his deepest chakra source. Kurama, in his mindscape, joked that he felt a strange energy, as if some other, greater power was dormant within him. Naruto laughed and asked if he was as dangerous as Kurama, to which the fox growled, saying he would soon see for himself. One day, at the age of 8, Naruto was badly injured while sparring at the academy, and in a fit of rage, his eyes suddenly transformed completely. A Sharingan with 3 tomoe appeared in one eye, and a Byakugan with light veins appeared in the other. The entire class was shocked. Sasuke, who was standing nearby, became furious, thinking Naruto had somehow stolen his Sharingan. He angrily shouted, asking how this was possible. Because the Sharingan is only in the blood of the Uchiha clan. Iruka came running and calmed them both down, immediately taking Naruto to Hiruzen. Hiruzen realized that it was now impossible to hide the truth. He told him the whole story, how he possessed the 3 ancient, average, and happy powers of his time, and how he was the most special child of this era. At first, Naru was frightened, but then asked if this meant he would be able to protect his friends and village. Hiruzen smiled and agreed. Meanwhile, the news had reached the Hyuga clan elders, and Hiyashi Hyuga himself was in Hiruzen's office, arrived and sternly asked if this child could use their clan's dojutsu. Hiruzen calmly replied that it wasn't a stolen power, but a power born from his own blood. Hiyashi stood there for a moment, confused, then left without another word. Determined to discover the child's true limits, Naruto's training became intense over the next 4 years. The old Abhu commander began teaching him the Sharingan's illusion techniques, the Byakugan's ability to identify chakra points, and the basic theory of the Rinnegan. Initially, Naruto found it extremely difficult to use both eyes simultaneously. He often suffered headaches and chakra exhaustion, but with Kurama's help, his recovery time was much faster than other children. Naruto discovered that all three of his eyes activated at different times, as if his mind itself decided which power was needed at which moment. At the age of 12, his graduation exam arrived. Naruto accidentally activated his Sharingan eyes during a transformation jutsu, filling the entire room with a soft purple light. Iruka Sase's eyes widened in shock. Naruto passed easily and was placed on Team 7, which included Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Jon Sasei of Kakashi's hand. On the first day of team formation, Kakashi noticed a faint glint of the Sharingan in Naruto's eyes during the bell test, and shocked, asked how that was possible. Naruto simply smiled and said, "It's a long story, I'll tell you later." Hearing this, Sasuke's heart burned even more, as he had considered the Sharingan his sole identity all his life, and now a stranger was using that power so easily. Sakura tried to lighten the mood, saying that perhaps Naruto was just lucky, but a deep worry was clearly visible in Kakashi's eyes. A few weeks later, when Team 7 was sent on a mission to the Land of Waves and was attacked by Zabuza Momochi, Naruto intentionally activated all three of his eyes simultaneously for the first time. The Sharingan in his left eye, the Byakugan in his right, and as the threat intensified, the Rinnegan pattern simultaneously appeared in both eyes. Zabuza recoiled in shock, having never seen such eyes in his entire life. Haku tried to launch an attack with his ice mirror, but Naruto's Bakugan eyes anticipated his every move, while the Sharingan merely slowed him down. Finally, Naruto used a slight Shiraten from his Rinnegan eyes, shattering the entire wall of ice mirror. Kakashi was stunned by this. He himself had never seen so much power simultaneously in anyone in his entire life. Both Zabuza and Haku realized that this child was no ordinary genin, but a living miracle of history itself. Even in his injured state, Zabuza smiled and said that he had never seen such a dangerous child in his entire life, and perhaps that was why defeat was written in his destiny today. Haku, in a last-ditch effort, came forward to shield Zabuza, but Naruto, reading the true loyalty hidden in his eyes with his Byakugan, knocked him unconscious without killing him. After the battle was over, Gato arrived with his entire gang of goons. Naruto single-handedly used a powerful Bansho Tenin with his Rinnegan eyes, drawing all the goons towards him. He then threw them away with a Shinra Tensei. Gato, trembling with fear, fell to his knees, begging not to be killed. The entire village watched the battle from afar and honored Naruto as a true hero. The young child, Inari, tearfully remarked that she had never seen anyone so powerful, and that for the first time she felt that heroes could be real, not just stories in books. The bridge was named the Great Eye Bridge, and the team returned to Konoha together. Upon reaching Konoha, news quickly spread throughout the village that a child growing up under the tutelage of Hoka was the master of the three great dojos. Hizen immediately called an emergency council meeting. Some clan elders protested, saying that such a great power should be kept under the village's strict control. Some even suggested that his eyes should be sealed to prevent any threat. But Hizen firmly stated that Naruto was not a weapon but a son of Konoha, and that both his freedom and safety would be maintained. Fugaku Uchiha was also present at the meeting and silently observed how an outsider child was using his clan's greatest heritage. But he said nothing, lost in deep thought. Meanwhile, somewhere far away in a dark and dank cave, where the dim light of torches cast strange shadows on the walls, a secret meeting of the Otsutsuki, an ancient and extremely dangerous organization, was underway. All the members were present in a large circular room in their respective hologram-like projection forms. When they heard this shocking news from Konoha, a strange silence fell over the room. A new and dangerous glint appeared in the eyes of the organization's leader, himself the true Rinnegan possessor. In a low but chilling voice, he declared that if this child truly possessed the Sharingan, the Wakuga, and the Rinnegan, then he had become the greatest key in the world. A key that could change their entire Moon Eye plan forever. Hearing this, every member in the room was shaken. Itachi Uchiha, who was always calm and composed, was stunned for a moment. There was silence for a moment, as if he were calculating something in his mind. Sam Hoshikagaki, with his sharp-toothed smile, said that if this child was really so special, then capturing him would be a much more interesting task. Conan looked a little worried at this and asked if the news was confirmed, as similar rumors had circulated before in history, later proven false. The leader nodded and replied that this time the information came from Konoha's own internal spy network, and it was completely confirmed. A strange uneasiness spread among the rest of the organization, as many of them had been searching for the Rinnegan for years, believing that this power existed only in Kim and Dante. But now it was revealed that this power was awakening spontaneously within an innocent child of Konoha, without any lineage or effort. Recalling the old days of the Hidden Rain village, the leader said that he himself had sacrificed half his life to acquire the Rinnegan, and now this power was being gifted to a child. This deeply unsettled him. He ordered that the child be monitored discreetly. No haste should be made, for if Konoha became suspicious, they would hide the child under even deeper security. As the meeting ended, all the holograms slowly disappeared, but a cold, dangerous silence lingered in the room, signaling a coming storm. Meanwhile, in the quiet of the night in Konoha, Naruto stood alone by the window of his room. The dim moonlight fell on his face, and he gazed into his eyes, which, reflected in the mirror, alternated between three different colors: red, white, and purple. He couldn't decide whether to consider this power a blessing or a burden. Kurama's deep, gravelly voice echoed through his mindscape. The fox said that this was just the beginning. The path ahead would be extremely dangerous, because the power that the entire world pursues is never allowed to live in peace. He further said that Naruto must now remain vigilant at all times, because those who have been wandering for centuries to acquire this power could appear from anywhere at any time. Naruto remained silent for a moment, looking at his palms. Then he smiled softly. He silently told Kurama that he was not afraid because he was not alone. He had his friends, his village, and now these three eyes were with him. He looked up at the sky where the stars shone brightly and silently vowed that no matter what came, no matter how great the forces that pursued him, he would never use these eyes to harm anyone, but only to protect his entire village and his loved ones. The wind rustled gently outside the window. It was as if nature itself was witnessing his oath, and from here began the true journey of the child whose eyes held the future of the entire Shinobi world, whose power was still just beginning to awaken, and who was now the target of every great enemy. This was just the beginning of a story that would forever change the history of the entire ninja world. That very night, when most of the lights in Konoha had been extinguished, and only the watchman Anbu was patrolling, a lone shadow stood on the platform of the Hokage monument. The shadow silently gazed towards the window of Naruto's room, completely motionless, as if it had been standing there for hours. There was a faint, strange glow in its eyes, a glow that could only exist in the eyes of the possessor of a very ancient and powerful dojutsu. He muttered to himself in a low voice that the prophecy was finally coming true, something many like him had been waiting for centuries. He pulled an old, worn scroll from his coat pocket, bearing a prophecy written by Hagomo Otsutsuki, which clearly stated that when the three eyes awaken in a single body, the world will be on the brink of a new war and a new balance. Sai placed the scroll back in his pocket and slowly turned to disappear into the darkness. But as he left, he glanced toward Naruto's room one last time and smiled softly, a smile that held neither friendship nor hostility but a deep and mysterious interest. His final whisper lingered in the air, telling him that it was time to inform his old master of this news, for this child would prove to be the greatest link not just to Konoha, but to the entire Otsutsuki legacy. The next morning, Naruto set out for his training as usual, unaware that someone was watching his every move so closely in the darkness of the night. In the distant sky, the sun was slowly rising, its golden rays falling across the rooftops of Konoha, as if announcing the beginning of a new and dangerous chapter. Naruto still didn't know that the power awakened in his eyes was not just his own story, but part of a centuries-old conspiracy and prophecy that had yet to be revealed. In the next episode, we'll see who that mysterious shadow was and whether Naruto will be able to understand the true power and value of his three eyes in time.